Message from Miggy.
Do we want to do him live right now if he's ready?
I'll message him in just a second. We are live. I want to thank our live viewers. We are going to be recording episode 333 of the Polite Society podcast here in just a minute or two. Getting set to go. We've had a little bit of a snafu with our guests, and so we're getting things straightened around there. Miguel says he can do Google Plus Hangout. Cool. So I just got to message him. I will be a link shortly.
Did you like the shy and soft spoken part, Gary?
I'm going to add, and famous Taco Bell fan.
Okay, I just got to invite Miguel, and we can and we got to wait. We got a wild. We have a wild. Hey, dude. We have a wild turkey that runs around.
Oh.
And your pit bull is saving you from a wild turkey.
Yes, very much so. And
the neighbor's goats.
oh, and the neighbor's goats are out.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
At least that big black mean one.
We live kind of out in on the edge of the city, and so we have rural type neighbors.
Are we going to record or talk to Miggy or what?
I just sent him a link, and we're going to see if he can join in quick. I'm sorry for live viewers. Guess what? This is live. Sorry,
It doesn't get any more live than this.
I'm telling you. We had to juggle some things around.
You know what we should do, though? Let me get Dan Roberts.
Yeah, I'm going to need his email.
Yep, exactly.
Rob, should I call it the Gun Free Zone blog as opposed to?
Sure.
You said of Gun Free Zone, but like.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Good idea.
And
Big.
Miguel says Miguel's here.
Yes, he is.
It is.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Fine, I gotta find me a pair of headphones. Hold on. Oh, I used to have headphones somewhere around here. Okay. Give me a couple of seconds.
Dan may be. I'm pretty sure Dan is at the protests at Sweeney's.
Okay.
So it's probably going to be. We're probably going to call him.
Okay.
Do you want to? Can you do that from your rig there, Paul?
I certainly can.
Yay!
I like that.
Because I'm just that darn good.
Oh, can I mention Amber?
Certain.
I hung out and offered to Amber Cuno to ask her to guest host on the show sometimes. Guest co-host.
Right.
Because she was going, oh, other people asked me to do their show for them, and I'm really nervous. And I go, well, crud, girl, you're amongst friends here. Give it a shot.
Yeah, we'll hold her hand through a few.
Yeah.
Oh, dear God. I'm almost there.
You got your cord in a knot?
You think?
Oh, no, what it is, Miguel?
Oh, God. Okay, here we go. And plug it in. And accordingly. Okay, I can hear now.
You can hear.
Yeah.
Now it's
Okay.
now, the regulations were, what was it again? ITRA? Is that it?
Mm-hmm. I tell you.
ITR.
ITIR.
International Transmit.
International Tree for Small Arms.
Okay. Okay.
Let me get my own damn blog thing going. And so that's a
International Traffic in Arms.
Arms regulations. Yep.
regulation.
I get
Okay.
trained on those twice a year.
Oh yeah, of course you have to, because now you're evil people. You are the one that now just by selling on your shop, you are exporting. Oh, that's eventually what I think is going to happen, but I love the way the State Department changes definitions.
Okay.
Where is my this one?
All right. Let me know when you're ready to go, Miggy.
Okay, hold on.
Have a new guest.
Here we go.
Paul.
Yeah, just a minute.
Oh, that's Ed.
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, I don't have a headset.
Well, there you go. See, same problem.
You sound pretty good.
Okie dokie. Well, Rob's gonna be doing a lot of editing, so I can screw up as much as I want. Okay, gents, I'm ready. Let's screw it up.
So who are we going to take first, Ed or Miguel?
I don't know.
You two fight amongst yourselves for a schedule.
Now,
Okay.
Ed, you start.
Okay, so we'll take it out of order. What did I just... Oh, I was going to throw that up on Facebook that we've started.
Sorry, everybody. I dumped my soda, and there's a laptop right next to it, so I had to take care of it right now. Okay. Oh, we have a new person in the Hangout. Sorry, I've been
Occupied.
This must be Ed.
Let's do it.
Okay.
So I just start with Ed.
Are you okay with us doing that fast, Miggy?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. All
I
right.
thought to figure out what Mr. Doherty is smoking. I don't know if it's. What is that thing?
I think I'm gonna go to Taco Bell.
Tropical Punch.
I want Taco Bell so freaking
Freaking
bad. Sorry. All right, Rob, I'm ready to record. I'm ready
Okay,
to
let's
record
do it.
whenever you are.
Let's do
And
it.
rolling.
Welcome back to the interview segment of the Polite Society podcast, presented by the Firearms Policy Coalition. We have Ed Levine joining us this afternoon. Ed, I know you from Virginia Gun Rights, but what intrigued me and what our listeners want to hear about in particular is getting a permit in Washington, D.C. Is that possible?
Well, I'm not sure.
Depends on the week.
I have a letter here in front of me, addressed from D.C. Metropolitan Police Department to me, and it says that I'm notice. I don't know if you can see that. Notice of preliminary approval.
Nice.
So it has. There's an 18-hour course that you have to have of training. I'm a firearms instructor. I'm a former Marine, so I was able to waive 14 hours or 16 hours of the course, and I need to take the 2 hours of legal course that I'm taking on Friday, at which such time they would issue my permit. But just yesterday, there was a stay put on the reason for needing a permit, so I don't know if I'm preliminary approved, if I'm grandfathered in that and I'll be approved and they get my permit, or if they're going to somehow try and jack me up and not give me my permit. But as of right this second, I'm supposedly approved for a permit in D.C.
Well, how did you get that well, boy, how did you get the permit to apply? What's involved with that?
Well, anybody can apply. And if you look up Ed Levine on Google, you find that I'm the founder of Virginia Open Carry, the founder of DC Carry. I'm an executive member of VCDL, the Virginia Citizens Defense League. I'm a Gun Owners of America member. I'm a Life NRA member, so I'm very Googleable with gun rights. And because of that, that's a good thing and a bad thing. The bad thing about it is when I applied for DC, they said you had to have two reasons, one of two reasons to apply. You either had to take care of someone that could not take care of themselves, and you had to carry large sums of money, or one of those two. My first time around, I put a checkbox in there and said, because I'm a citizen of the United States, and was quickly denied. I then wrote in and said, look, I don't know what's foiable, and I don't want my information out there in the public, so I was just teasing on the I'm just a citizen. I do carry some cash, and I do drive a nice car, and I do have a nice watch, but I would rather live than have any of those possessions of mine, so there's my cash requirement. And I have a daughter who's not an adult yet, therefore I care for her, so I've satisfied both obligations. Let me have my permit, please. They still said no, and then when Second Amendment Foundation was going to sue them, or was suing them, I asked Alan Gura if he would like me to be a plaintiff, and his response was, you're too Googleable. We want just Joe Normal Public, not a guy like you in there. So I stood by.
Somebody with a little lower profile.
Right. So I stood by and just watched. And then the moment they won, I quickly called back in and said, well, I'd like to go ahead and get my permit now. And they're like, well, there's a lot of red tape, whatever. And I'm like, I am a Second Amendment Foundation member. And they said, can you prove that? And I certainly.
Oh, yeah.
So I proved that I was a Second Amendment Foundation member, and I got you'll hear from us next week, and next week I got a preliminary approval.
So there's not an interview. There's just you download forms, you mail in the forms, and
there may be now, but as of last week, there was your reason for needing a firearm was what I usually put like on my NFA items is for all lawful purposes. But apparently yesterday there was a stay put on that, and now you need a reason again. I mean, it changes more than I change my Well, it changes a lot.
Maybe more than Miguel changes. No, we won't go there.
Don't go there.
Okay, so Ed, you just go get the forms. You're out of state. You mail them in. They didn't want any verification from local law enforcement or anything?
Thumbprints and face in person at the desk. No, there's no mailing in D.C. Where do you think you are? America?
Well, so if I'm a resident of the left coast, that sounds like discrimination because they're going to require me, before I visit, to make an extra cross-country trip simply to apply.
American Airlines, United Airlines. Feed the engine.
Tell me what else you think you have to do before you get your permit.
Well, I've got a bunch of PDFs that I'm going to have to figure out. Let's say I get my permit. There's still 50 zillion places I can't carry. I can't carry on public transportation, no federal property, nowhere where there's a dignitary going to be, nowhere where Kathy Lanier and said police officers say can be within so many feet, no place that serves alcohol, no event. I mean, it's really going to be a patchwork of where you can carry, but it is baby steps. And I don't go to D.C. that often, and sometimes it's like just to drive through and go meet someone real quick and then come back. So I mean, I'm gonna have to really learn what places they are. In Virginia, I don't know if I have one on me. That would be in Virginia. I have these cards that I give out, which I'll show you here. I don't know if you see. It says Virginia Open Carry. Whoops, upside down. Virginia Open Carry carry cards, and it's got all types of information on the front, and then word by word and code section of the laws on the back.
I think you're going to need a bigger card if you carry that for DC.
Oh, DC, I need a book a little bit bigger than the Bible. So it's like I was going to try and make up just a hints card, just a hint, and there was way too much ambiguity and way too much legal mumbo jumbo that it's like I don't want to create a card and have someone say, well, this is I got this card from Ed and sue me because I told him where he could or couldn't carry.
Now, are all those go, no-go areas posted in D.C.?
Of course not. That would be
Logical.
Yeah,
Somebody collapsed.
Yeah, he's gone.
Did you fall, Ed, or were you pushed?
No, he's out of the hangout.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well,
Well,
that'll
that's
be-
part. That, I was thinking that the patchwork.
He's
Was that
back.
was that my computer that went to sleep or somebody else's?
Yours.
that was you.
Oh,
That
well,
was
this is my first day on the interweb.
Oh,
Now, to answer your question of where will it be posted or where's it posted or how's it posted? Yeah, it's not. It changes every day, and they don't even know what they're doing. If you call the firearms office and ask them a question, they're very, very friendly. The guys that work there are very friendly. I've created DC challenge coins. If you're a challenge coin collector, you can see them at edsorder.com, small plug. But I gave them all challenge coins. I emailed the chief and said, and I mailed the chief, not emailed her. I mailed her challenge coins. Do you like the challenge coins? She said, I didn't get them. Maybe they got stolen, which was kind of funny. But I sent her some more, and those guys are very nice. They're very kind, but the laws change so much they don't want to give you really a definitive answer. And just like today, someone asked me, I'm running around going, hey, I got my permit, and then yesterday changed it. So come Friday, I don't know if I'll actually get it or not. I imagine I should be because it says I'm approved. I just have to complete one of the prerequisites.
Now, if you don't have a permit, you have permission to apply, as I understand it.
No, everybody has permission to apply. I have approval. I have notice.
But okay, that's not what goes in your wallet, though.
No, but this to me says I have a permit waiting to be picked up, and the only thing that's keeping me from picking it up is 2 hours of legal, which I'm taking on Friday, and proving to them that I have done that. So I've jumped through all the hoops, and the hoops could be destroyed for all I care. Well, I mean, I do care, but I mean, in this scenario, I've already jumped through the hoops. So they can't go back and go, hey, now we've made the hoops smaller and a little bit higher and a little bit. I don't care. I've been through that part of the course already. So now I'm in line to pick it up, basically.
So hopefully next Friday you will be in touch again, and you'll say, here it is. Here's the bright, shiny piece of plastic, or in their case, it's probably rice paper, so that it'll disappear the first time it gets wet.
I think it is plastic. I've seen more unicorns than I have seen of DC permits, but I have seen DC permits.
Okay.
I know they exist, and I'm pretty confident that my relationship, even with Kathy Lanier, I think I'll be able to persuade with compelling argument as to why I should actually be able to pick up the piece of plastic. Now, Chief Lanier might not like me saying this, but the one day that occurred that you could actually open carry in D.C., I was away and I could not go to D.C. Some of my friends did actually go down and open carry in D.C. that day, and the moment the stay went away and everything else, and so you could no longer open carry, Chief Lanier did tell her people, look, this is a very fat, people are drinking from a fire hose here, so much information, so much misinformation. Go ahead and don't prosecute, don't arrest, don't hit anybody up with any firearms charges or ammo charges for the next 2 days, and let's give them a chance to disseminate that you can't do this anymore. I thought that was very fair of her in light of her very anti-gun, kick everybody out with a gun in D.C. Council that leads her. So as a chief, I thought she was very fair that way. And I talked to her once about whether she's pro-gun or anti-gun. She's like, I enforce the laws, my bosses make the laws, I work for my bosses. Which to me, the way she kind of made it say is like, I don't mind that much, I guess, making sure no bosses are looking, but I can't speak for her. But I got a feeling that if her bosses said, okay, everything's good, issue permits as a shall issue, and we'll go from there, she would salute and start issuing permits.
What's your schedule next week, Ed, so you can come back on and tell us what it's like to have a DC permit?
Whatever it is, I'll make room for you to tell you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Good luck on Friday.
Thank you very much.
Whoa, that's crazy.
And we're clear.
Oh, he left?
Yeah, he wow.
Click, gone.
Well, maybe he had to go.
Well, he did. He was working on a Jeep, so
Okay.
we pulled him out from. Okay.
So, one question is, real quick, is 18 hours to get the of classes and whatnot?
Yes.
Yes.
How long does the average DC cop go through firearms instruction? Sure as hell not 18 hours.
I don't know.
Well, he said 2 of those hours are on law, so I mean it's not just firearm instruction. I mean it's
okay.
They're feeding you with a fire hose tons of information. It's like Illinois, our 16 hours is just laws and laws and laws I got to go over.
When I talk,
probably again, same. You spend more time on that than the guns, but
oh yeah,
guys, it's ridiculous.
I'm trying to remember, and my apologies for the forgetting of the name, but Daniel Shaw's partner on Gunfighter Cast.
John McGregor.
Yeah. I talked to John McGregor, who is a trainer and does a lot of work with police and law enforcement up at the Sig Sauer Academy, and he says the average policeman, just to get their badge, goes through 12 hours of training. Of firearms training, and I'm thinking just going through in my head right now, I've got I've got
thank you for. How long did it take you your first serious class? How long did it take you? My first professional class with an instructor, it was 3 days. That was 24 hours right there of me pulling the trigger.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Let's get.
I'm over 100.
Oh yeah.
And you don't look a day
Several
over
times.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're doing the Miguel interview, right?
I'll bring us into the Miguel, but anybody jump in, guys. I'm not gonna. Just anybody jump in when because I've got exactly 2 questions, and so. Here we go.
Yeah, so that's an hour.
Okay, let's go, people.
All right, here we go. Hey, and welcome back to our second interview segment on the Polite Society podcast, powered by the Firearms Policy Coalition. Joining us this time is Miguel Gonzalez. You've heard Miguel on our show before, and I hope you read his blog, Gun Free Zone. Miguel, thanks for joining us today, man.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure.
The reason I wanted to bring you on is you had a post last week where you were talking about the new regulations, ITAR regulations that are being proposed. They're not final through the Justice Department, but they've been a proposed rulemaking that's going to make a lot of changes in guns, and even might stretch as far as podcasters and bloggers, right?
Right. The international traffic in arms regulations, the State Department is supposedly adapting to this treaty. It was signed by the president. Has not been yet, confirmed by the Senate. But what it's done is it changed the definition of export, and that is very interesting. Exporting, before, you ask anybody what export is, it means, you have a product or information, you go ahead and you take it outside the continental United States, or, have somebody come pick it up, and it's a trade that you do. For the State Department now, what they're telling you is if you publish certain information on your blog or your podcast on Google Plus, where we are right now, and somebody comes from the outside and access that information, well, it will be indicated, it will be the same as if you exported that information. And if that information happens to be about arms that are under the restriction of the State Department to be exported, well, now guess what? Now you are committing a federal felony. It can give you 20 years in prison or up to $1 million in fines, which is not funny.
No, not at all. Now, my understanding is after going through and reading this, I could say something like shooting the Browning automatic rifle is fun, and could run afoul of these regulations. Is that the way you read it as well?
Sorry, you broke up.
The way I read the regulations when I went through and actually read them, and I got to be honest, I just read them through your blog post. I didn't dig super deep, but I could go as far as just saying firing the Browning automatic rifle is fun, and that could be enough to trigger this. That's the way I read it. Did that sound right to you too?
Not. I don't think it's gonna. But the problem is, I cannot say what a federal employee can do because they will surprise me. But suppose that there's even within the new regulation, the proposed regulations, they say that anything that has been already published in the past will not count. But that doesn't mean anything either. But for example, let's say that Paul, you got somebody just secretly gives you the new Taurus gun that's gonna come out and tell you, hey, do a review, and you go ahead and do the review.
Right.
Okay, and you publish it. It's a new gun.
Yeah.
And you're giving the specs of that gun.
Mickey?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
In crazy California, if I were to have a 1911 and change the grip screws from black oxide to chrome, it would have to be resubmitted for safety review. So
it is something along those lines. Let me put it this way: the same 1911, okay? Everybody knows how to do a change of the grips. But you bring new grips that somebody else just, came out of the market. They are new. They go into the gun, which is old, and you take pictures and you publish it in your blog, for example. That is new information. Even if it's an old gun. Even if it's something as old as the grips, can be considered new information. Therefore, you are illegally exporting this kind of stuff to potentially enemies of the United States. That is the stupidity of the whole concept of the export, or changing the definition of export by the State Department. Obviously, before you can publish it, before publishing it, you gotta talk to the State Department and say, hey, can I publish this? Can I get your permission? Of course, that's not gonna happen.
No.
But what you're going to have is prior restraints. People are going to stop publishing because they're afraid of breaking the law. And what it covers is so much, because that's the other thing. A lot of people are thinking, well, you're exaggerating. You're talking about, this is to cover someone like a Snowden, that they went in and hacked the Pentagon database and stole the plans and all the software for a missile, and nope. If you go, if you read the proposed changes, it tells you about what change export. It tells you about what is technical data. Technical data is maintenance, repair, overhaul, refurbishing of a defense article. Okay, now come the other two words that are important, the other definition, which is defense article. The defense article is whatever is under what is called the USML, the United States Munition List. The United States Munition List on Category 1, okay, remember, realize that they are not making any kind of difference. Everything that is on the list, on the USML. On Category 1 are non-automatic and semi-automatic firearms to caliber 50 inclusive. Does that sound familiar, people?
Yeah, I got one on my hip.
Okay. Combat shotguns, silencers, mufflers, sound and flash suppressors. Okay, a little piece of metal that goes on the muzzle of your rifle. All of a sudden, if you take a picture of somebody, I got a friend that it makes them. He's gonna send me a couple of pictures for the blog to publish tomorrow. Under this, if at the moment I publish this, the pictures of the muzzle of the flash suppressor, I'm in violation of this law. Rifle scopes.
Yeah.
A Cabela's catalog online could be violating these regulations. Components, parts, accessories, and attachments for the articles. Bull Barrel for you in 1911, the new size for the Glock that come out, and not only a review, but how to install them. Oh, you come out with a new product to clean the gun, clean the Glock, or maybe a new way to disassemble and reassemble your MMP seal.
Or how to lubricate your AK-47 with Mobile One synthetic oil instead of Hoppy's number 9.
Yeah, instead of Hoppy. No, actually, the best one I heard was the oil that comes in sardine cans. So that is what is scary about these new proposed regulations. It is the scope of what they cover is so huge. It doesn't make any sense other than either somebody's an absolute idiot over the State Department, or there's a little bit of secondhand hidden regulation they want to impose. Either way, it's stupid.
Miguel, do you think this is also partly a response to Cody Wilson and Defense Distributed and his lawsuit against them down in Texas?
I wouldn't know. I am not following that case that close, so I couldn't tell you. And the truth be told, that the federal government can come up with their own. I want to keep it, PG. There are stupidity pretty well without having to be petty. So I wouldn't know. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't, even hazard a guess.
Well, and I want to, for our listeners, folks, if this scares you, it should. But this is not written in stone yet. This is a proposed regulation. And you can comment on this, and we encourage all of our listeners to comment on this. You can email, and Miguel, you got a post right on your blog that I'm looking at that tells people how to make comments about this, and I'll make sure that link goes up in our show notes, and I'll copy it to our Facebook page as well. But we
also contact your federal legislators.
Yes.
Have them look into this. Roaches don't like sunlight.
No, they don't. They don't. And I'm fortunate. I've got 1.5 pro-gun senators and a pro-gun Congress critter, and I've preliminarily I made calls to 2 of them this week, and I'll be recalling all 3 coming up this week. So, but I would encourage everybody, please make sure that you get in touch, because not only with your Congress critters, but comment on this proposed regulation as well. It is supremely important that we do that.
Yeah, this is a direct. We're not talking about Second Amendment here. We're talking about First Amendment. We're talking about pretty much the elimination of anything that is gun related on the internet on information. And people, believe me, if it works with us, it's going to be applied to anything else that they do not like. It's not going to just to be contained with the Second Amendment. They will, once it works. So okay, if it works for the gun people, maybe we can use it for the people that's anti-immigration or pro-immigration or for gays or against gays. We can use it, and they will. And ideas like that, they will. They love to spread them. So it is. As much as a direct attack on the Second Amendment, is also a brutal attack on the First Amendment. We cannot let that go.
Miguel, can I amplify what you said? Last night I heard a presidential candidate speak. He said, "Our message is welcome everywhere when we defend all human rights, not just the ones we typically support, from the 1st to the 10th.
And, as usual, remember, gun control has never been about the gun. It's been about controlling people. And if I can control what you can say, it's going to be as effective as if I can control what you can carry.
Amen. Amen. Well, Miguel, if I could, then I want to ask you. Let everybody know where you're on another podcast as well. Talk about your podcast and talk about where people can get your stuff, where they can read your stuff.
Okay, now the podcast was. I'm no longer with them.
Oh, you're not. I didn't know that.
Oh no, yeah, I suck at that thing. I don't. It's too stressful. And
I feel that same way about being here with Paul, but
yeah, pretty much. It's a Guncast Variety podcast. Oh my God! It's with Sean Sorrentino. Just look for Sean Sorrentino online, and I'm totally drawing a blank on the name of this stupid podcast.
Gunboard Variety Cast.
Thank you. Please go ahead. They have great stuff, and just my blog gunfreesun.net, and I try to publish something every day, and drop by and complain. Have fun. Go read.
I gotta say the one, and I seen it happen on Facebook before you posted it, but the one today about the 1911 of chainsaws was hilarious.
Okay.
All right.
That was. I'm not gonna mention names, but it's another podcaster, well-known podcaster, that's got problems with liver and bad haircuts, and that was addressed to him. And it's like, oh no, I gotta take this.
Yes, very much so. Well, thanks again for joining us, Miggy. We gotta step off to break here, and we'll be back, folks, right after this. Awesome. Almost exactly at 15 minutes. Awesome.
Cool. Perfect.
Thanks for coming on, Miguel.
Okay, I'm out of here, guys, because I still have a wife I'm supposed to take care of. It's Sunday, and you guys have are either divorced or single. Mine will kill me. She's a Southern woman.
Hey, before you go, are you going to make gun rights policy conference this fall?
No, I'm staying home. I'm staying home this year.
Wait. Did you know that there's a 3-story water slide at the hotel?
Do you think they're gonna allow big? Okay, Gary, look at us. Okay, well, you kind of look at me, but
400.
We
I'm
are
on
chunky.
it. 400. I'm on it.
Okay, well, okay. Can you imagine you and me going down the freaking slide?
I have a giant grin on my face, baby.
We'll get pictures and be sure to post them.
The floods, they're gonna happen, and then we're gonna be in every freaking YouTube channel. And so this is people that empty the pool.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my God, you guys are sick. I'm out of here. You have a great one, guys. Thanks for having me.
See you, man.
Take care, Miguel.
Wow, that's a force of nature right there, man. Mr. Fats commented, "Hello, Rob, John, and Gary," and I'm chopped liver. Hello, Rob, John. Good to see y'all. Have not watched a live show in a month. I wish Rachel was there. So do we. We're hoping soon. But hey, Mr. Fats.
And I'm just hanging out here in the wings.
Yeah, exactly. Susan and I are just kind of here. So.
Pate. We're not chopped liver. We're pate.
Hey, Patty.
Patty. There you go. Peppermint Patty. All right. Let me make sure I got everything ready to fly. I'm going to jump over to show notes. And scroll up to where I can see what I'm supposed to say. Okay, ready to cut the open?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Hi, and welcome to the Polite Society podcast presented by the Firearms Policy Coalition. This one's recorded live on Sunday, June 14th, 2015. I'm Paul Lathrop.
I'm Rob Morse. And on tonight's show, we talk with John Edeen from Doctors for Responsible Gun Ownership.
I'm John Richardson, and we'll talk with Ed Levine about getting your DC carry permit.
I'm Gary Doherty, and we also get to talk to the shy and soft-spoken and famous Taco Bell fan, Miguel Gonzalez of the Gun Free Zone blog. Biggie will tell us about the new common sense gun regulations proposed by the Department of Justice. We have all that and our usual news and stories of defensive gun use. So climb aboard.
Strap in.
And hang on.
Episode 333 of the Polite Society Podcast starts right now. Okay, let's get going. Personal news segment. Rob, you're up first, man. What's been up with you since the last time we recorded?
I got to speak to one of our listeners. Tony's running some introductory training classes in New Jersey. I wish him the best of luck. In gun news, I had some repairs made on my Glock 19. It turns out that if you ask anybody to do anything to it, the probability of them getting it right is about half. So between sights and a slide release extension, both had to be redone.
Ooh.
Yeah, weren't big things. Just the front sight came loose, and nothing works right the first time. Shot an IDPA stage, and I put a picture of it. The guys got it a little bit off book. One stage had 18 separate cardboard targets. As you can imagine, obviously there are some reloads involved. One shot each. That stage took a while to score and tape.
18 targets. Well, yeah, I guess I would have had to change magazines once.
Let's see. And Gary, I thought of you. I was shooting a mix of my defensive and practice ammunition. The Glock so far doesn't seem to care what it eats. And I heard Rand Paul speak last night. That was interesting.
What'd you think of Rand?
One, he's not a very tall man. He is a very smart man. He spoke for 45 minutes to an hour, no notes.
Wow.
I knew he was a doctor. He was a ophthalmologist. He did eye surgery routinely. He still does it overseas in the sense that he'll go on missionary trips like, Doctors Without Borders, where they go to South America and help the natives. I don't think he did tell one interesting story. He says, when I went there, a senator said to me, at first you'll wonder what you're doing here with all these really smart guys, and after a couple months you'll wonder, how did these guys get here?
I really like Rand Paul. I'd like to support him. I'd really like it if he were a little less associated with Dudley Brown.
This is, again, off topic, speaking personally. He's the only candidate I've heard so far who says he wants to make government smaller.
Yeah.
Everybody else says, I won't let it grow as fast. No, I've already got more government than I want, thank you.
Yeah.
Who's next?
John, I think you're up next, man. What's been up with you?
Okay. Well, not much, at least not on the level of Rob, of personal gun stuff to report this week. I did pick up 4 Aero Precision AR strip lowers this week from my dealer. I'd found a great deal on them, and I just couldn't resist. I have a link in the show notes so that other people can take advantage of it. I remember we had people on from the AR-15 podcast, and they spoke very highly of Aero Precision. So I think there will be more AR builds in my future. Planning what to do is half the fun, and you just, I want this variation. Oh, no, I need this variation. And so it's like Tinker Toys. You just can't stop. Or an erector set.
Yeah, I have absolutely committed in the next, I'm not going to say year, but I'm going to say within the next 2 years, I want to build at least 2 ARs. I want to build an AR-15, and believe it or not, I really want to build an AR-10.
Okay, sure. What was that? Was that a sound effect?
No, that was an alarm that should have been turned off. That's going to be interesting editing. I've got two builds that I want to do in the future. I want to build an AR-15, and sometime in the next couple of years, I want to build an AR-10. I love the AR-15. I love the fact that it's easier to shoot. But man, something about something that can really reach out and touch, just kind of tickles the funny bone, you know.
Well, yeah, and once again, for me, it's the fun. It's an amusement park for me. I just so much noise and control and great accuracy without the slam in the shoulder recoil. You know,
Yeah.
it's a combination of so many things. It's just a blast.
Yeah, and I was speaking of fun. I was looking a while back, and this just occurred to me. This has been quite a while ago. Somebody approached me to come on the show, and we never got it scheduled. But somebody wanted to, you know, they have noise suppressors. They've got muzzle brakes. Well, there was a company that came out with a loudener, a device put on the end of your AR, specifically designed to make the noise a lot louder. And I thought that, never fired it, never seen it in person, but I thought that might be something that was kind of unique, you know.
I'd like to say I've done it, but I can't see why I'd need it.
Well, I mean, the AR is not. I mean, we're not talking 22 short. The AR does make some noise.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
why? I was thinking to myself, okay, the AR makes plenty of noise already, but getting something like that and putting it on an AR-10, something firing something like 308, yeah, that would put a thump in your chest. Anyway, Gary, you're up next, man. What's been up with you?
Lots of little things. You know, I know we all don't mention it every week. I'm sure at least 2 or 3 times a month we're all dry fire practicing at home, working on moving and shooting, and working on sighting. I personally I struggle with 2 eyes open sighting. So like I said, I just don't mention it every week, but almost every week I am doing it. Also sorted some brass for reloading. I found a bullet that had not impacted anything, but was burnt on the back. So obviously some form of squib load, because I kind of scoop up whatever I can when I'm at the range. Not, it's all there.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was interesting. Talk about that in class a lot. Beware those squibs. A 45 will probably not allow you to chamber another round, but 9s will, and then you're gonna have a real unhappy camper. So always, when you're shooting, be aware of lower noise, lower recoil, less flash, muzzle flash. I'm just always keep an eye out for those kind of things, folks. Like I said, I've been teaching and just opened the package for my new scope, for my new M&P. We're talking about ARs.
Okay.
And excited about mounting that, getting it zeroed in. So, Paul, you were sick last week. Oh, yes, what do you got?
Before we go into that, I want to go into a little bit of I myself cannot sight with both eyes open.
Okay.
I just, man, I have tried. If both eyes are open, I'm point shooting. That's the way it is. If I'm going to sighted fire, no matter if it's handgun or rifle, one of my eyes is closed. And I've heard, especially the guys up north, the guys up on Slam Fire talk a lot about sighting with both eyes, and I personally can't. Do you know of any exercises does anybody know of any exercises that would help with that?
Well, the absolute best thing that I've heard that I do is putting a piece of opaque tape, like a medical tape, over my weak eye, so that it cannot see the gun, but you can still see the target, and that way you can keep them both open. And I was going to ask you, what are you seeing when you have? Do you get double vision? Is it all blurry? What happens when you keep both eyes open? What do you see?
It's all blurry. I cannot get the focus on the front sight.
Yeah. So the first thing I would do is put that piece of tape covering the bottom half of your safety goggles, safety glasses, whatever you're wearing, and so that you cannot see the gun. So you can't see anything close up. You can still see the target, and that allow your strong eye, your dominant eye, to focus on the gun, and it allows so you're not contorting your face up, and allows you to get more light in. It actually, in the long run, it allows you better focus when you're sighting.
All right.
And that really helps me all the time.
Very cool. Well, I guess that leaves Susan and I. Well, when we talked last week, I was a little under the weather. I was actually a lot under the weather. We just got back from fair, and I had made an appointment to see my doctor on Monday. Well, went to the doctor, and he said, "Congratulations, you got a nice case of pneumonia going."
Ooh.
And he gave me 2 different medicines to take care of it. And
antibiotics and steroids are good things.
and no, listeners, they are not anabolic steroids. They're not the professional wrestler looking kind of stuff. These are non-anabolic steroids.
No, you don't need that. You're already buff.
I'm telling you that.
I don't want my lungs to swell up and drown me steroids. Oh, those.
So, and I was off work. I was supposed to go back to work Monday. Didn't go back driving until Wednesday, but drove my tail off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I get to be up at 3:30 in the morning and going again tomorrow. So, Susan, you went right to work, and you've been a busy beaver this week.
I have. I've been working
a lot. Yeah.
I'm considering taking up archery.
Really?
Cool.
Yes, because I can't fire my gun out here, and I'm going to get that turkey one way or another.
We've got a wild turkey that has taken up residence near.
That likes to sit on my car.
Yes.
Ah.
And our 2 dogs are protecting her from that turkey.
Well, and I'm sure the dogs would go get the turkey. They'd also probably trash your car going over the hood to get it.
Yeah. Very much so.
So I'm considering taking up archery so I can get it and the evil little goat that escapes from the neighbor's place every now and then too. So.
Well, we have. There was that crossbow I was looking at SHOT Show.
Yes. I'm thinking I need to buy it and start practicing.
So, but nothing really gun-related for us other than a little bit of dry practice here and there. Honestly, I haven't even felt good enough that I haven't done much dry practice even. I'm still hacking, and I apologize. We've already recorded the interviews for the people that don't listen live, that listen on podcasts. We already recorded the interviews. You may hear one or the other of us coughing. I tried catching the mic mute before we did, but I didn't always. I just the energy level to get the show out is about all I got left. So I haven't been doing a whole lot. I'm not even watching the race today. So yeah. So before we take off to break, I do need to mention we do have the Kathy Jackson class coming up here in August. Susan at politicsandguns.com if you're interested in taking that class. Also, Chaz is going to be doing a class in Utah in July. He's getting together with some of the gun dudes to do that class. Head over to concealmentsolutions.com/training if you want to get involved in that class. We are going to go ahead and step aside to break. When we come back, we got news, and we'll get to that right after this. Okay, just a hair over 15 minutes, but that's cool. News. All right. Who wants to bring us in? It's going to be kind of like last week, guys. I'm not going to say much. I'll pop in every once in a while when I got something to say, but I'm not going to say a whole lot during the news. I'm going to try and save my voice for DGUs and email.
I'll bring us in.
All right. And rolling.
Welcome to the... Sorry, I'm getting an echo in my ear.
Yeah, we hear it.
Oh, I don't know what you did, but the echo just turned on for John.
Okay, testing. Is it still there?
I don't know, John.
Let's see. Do you hear an echo for me?
Yes.
I don't know. I'm not hearing an echo.
I'm not hearing it either.
And I haven't. The only thing I've done is turn myself down.
Oh,
Are you guys hearing the echo?
yeah.
I heard it a little, but it just got much worse. Paul, turn yourself back up. I'm serious. Undo whatever it is. Oh, that.
I think it's a transient thing through Google because I'm making just tiny adjustments. And I'm back exactly where I was during the interviews.
John?
Let's see if I... No, I'm not making much of an echo now.
Okay.
I get a little bit in my ear, but... I'm ready whenever you're ready to record.
Go ahead and go whenever you're ready.
Hi, and welcome back to the new segment of the Polite Society podcast, powered by the Firearms Policy Coalition. Susan, I hear we have news about Geraldo.
We do. Geraldo Rivera doesn't believe the public should own guns. According to him, the Second Amendment is blind and stupid. Oddly enough, when push comes to maybe being shoved, he becomes a firm believer in a firearm for his self-defense. Covering the Baltimore riots, Geraldo could have felt uneasy about being as defenseless as one of the little people. So the very important person got some muscle. Muscle with guns. What his bodyguard didn't have was a hard-to-get permit to carry those guns in Maryland. Now Geraldo's bodyguard sits in jail, unable to meet the outrageous $350,000 bond. While Baltimore's mayor gave the rioters room to destroy, the politicians would not allow the citizens their right to an effective self-defense. Just as hypocritical, Geraldo was protected by the same firearms he would deny from the people. Blind and stupid? Well, Geraldo is certainly one to know blind stupidity.
I'd like to point out that it doesn't look like Geraldo is going to bail out his bodyguard.
Well, yeah, I want to jump on that a little bit more. We were just talking last night when I was a chauffeur, and due to no fault of my own, my client got me into some legal trouble and handled everything. And when I say handled everything, there is no record of the incident anywhere. And I can't believe that his bodyguard, he would not bail this guy out and let him rot in jail like that. That's horrible.
Well, when I think of high class, Geraldo Rivera doesn't exactly come to mind at the top of the list.
I hate it, but man, oh man.
Well, what I wonder is, can you imagine any celebrity with Fox who wants personal protection? I guess you'd have to ask for a retainer up front.
A new Rasmussen poll reports that American voters overwhelmingly prefer living in a neighborhood where they have the option of owning a gun, rather than living where nobody is allowed to be armed. Only 22% of likely U.S. voters feel safer living in a neighborhood where nobody was allowed to own a gun. 68% would feel safer in a neighborhood where guns are allowed. That's more than a 3-to-1 ratio. That leads us to ask, why aren't they all listening to this podcast?
I know, right?
I would agree.
You know, that comes back to, well, Rob, we talked about this a while back when the Court of Appeals decision came down that because enough people felt that,
Right.
you know, well, here's another example. People feel safer when they're allowed to own guns, whether or not they do own guns.
I guess the Seventh Circuit Court was looking at the wrong polling data when they made that earlier ruling.
Yep.
Total Recall is more than a movie. Patricia Duffy had her recall petition approved by the Oregon State Secretary of State. She wants to recall State Senator Floyd Przansky because of his vote on mandatory background checks for Oregon gun owners. This recall is in Lane County, which includes the liberal college town of Eugene. You'd think that gun prohibition would succeed there, but the Lane County politicians said they would not enforce the firearms transfer law. This is the fourth Oregon legislator facing a recall over the firearms transfer law. Citizens have until September 4th to gather 8,700 signatures for the recall.
Well, you know, this is happening over and over again now. Police officers are saying they're being told not to enforce this law or that law. Locally here, Highland Park was allowed to keep their feel-good ban on assault weapons, Highland Park, Illinois. And another fellow that I know was talking to some police officers, and they were told not to enforce it because it's unconstitutional. This, you know, this just struck me as we were talking about that story. What if, and we talk about this, what if the gun registration law had been in place in Germany, and they said, you know, we just won't enforce it, and then 10 years later, Hitler comes into power and starts registering and taking all the guns. This really scares me because they're letting these laws float. They're going, oh, we won't enforce them. So everyone's like, oh, well, I don't care if they keep the law in place or not because we're going to enforce them. And I think they're all going to jump up and bite us.
It does remind me of what's going on in New Jersey. The petition drive through New Jersey Senator Steve Sweeney is in 2 weeks. I think there are demonstrations in front of his home today.
Our next story could be called Total Recant. The FBI released a report before the 2014 midterm elections that claimed mass murders were on the rise. Criminologists looked at the report since then and said the report was deeply flawed. The report ignored older attacks and overcounted recent ones. Now, 2 of the authors have had to retract their conclusions. The authors paid by the FBI to write the report said the study's data is imperfect because official data did not contain the information we needed, so we had to develop our own.
Isn't that academic speak for, I made it up?
Yeah. Sounds that way to me.
What was that historian that said that colonialists really didn't own firearms and the Second Amendment really had no basis in historical tradition? Michael Belisles or something like that? He made up his data.
Well, in this case, these particular authors, their methodology was flawed. They could report an increase in any event they looked for, not just mass murders. If they looked for number of cars that stopped running. It would increase the time, no matter what they looked for, because of their methodology. It would always show an increase. That makes me think they should go to work for the that university in England and start doing reports on global warming.
Or do financial reports.
Oh, financial reports. Your money's always worth more.
All right, folks. We're having a little bit of technical issue for podcast downloaders. You shouldn't notice a bit of a change, but for the people that listen to us live, we may go away. We're having some real issues on our end, and people are breaking up pretty badly. So we will be right back after we tackle those issues right after this. I don't know what the deal is, guys, but it's really getting bad on my end.
We're getting the echo really bad on our end.
Can we leave and re-enter the Hangout?
Let's try. You know what? Goodness, we got one more interview coming up at 5, right?
What did we say we're going to do with Dan?
No, no, it wasn't John Dean. It was the gentleman in New Jersey.
Dan Roberts.
Dan Roberts, yeah. And we're going to have to Skype him in anyway, right?
No, he just wants a phone call.
Yeah, that's got to be done over Skype. I can't Google Plus a phone call.
I just thought you told me you could.
I can Google Plus a phone call, but I've got to do it through Skype and marry the two together.
Oh, okay.
So what I'm thinking is, and I'm becoming a little tired of all these, because what I'd like to do, guys, I'd like to try Skype.
Okay.
And we'll record the rest of the show over Skype, and we can call him in when I'm getting really tired of these technical issues. You know what I mean?
Works for me.
So let's all go hang up, and then live viewers, I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and stop the broadcast, and stay tuned. We may or may not try it over Google Plus, or we might just switch to Skype next week. But thanks for watching.